Greetings, gastronauts. Yes, this is KeefCooks. I'm Keef, and today I'm going to do something, a little bit late for pie day, but it is a pie. I'm going to make a chicken Balti pie. Oh yeah. First off, thanks to Laura Ritter, who made a donation via PayPal, which is much appreciated. Yes, it is. And yes, we're back to being Team Gastronauts. So, if you watched last week's video, Patrick Ormerod had requested that I return to that instead of LOU lot. A few more people have agreed with him, so Ben Stones and Karen Daly. Okay, Team Gastronauts, it is. I might make a t-shirt. Although Neil Pye did have an alternative suggestion. Oi, you bunch of degenerate gits. Maybe not. Okay, chicken Balti pie or chicken Balti pie, I'm not sure which is the correct pronunciation. I think it might end up being something like scone or scone. It was requested by Darcy May. Chicken Balti pies are massively popular at football matches and elsewhere, so I'll show you how to make my version, and it's quite easy, quite straightforward if you're an expert in pies. If you enjoy this video, give it a like, share, subscribe, and let's get on with it. A belated Pie Day pie, chicken Balti pie. I'm going to make the filling first, so the ingredients for that are about ½ kilo of chicken thighs, a medium onion, half a red pepper, capsicum, half a green one, a couple of tomatoes, or more if you've got them, a squirt of tomato puree, and a chunk of ginger, a couple of centimetres, about an inch, 3 garlic cloves, a teaspoon or 2 of fenugreek leaves, and about the same amount of fresh coriander. Also, mild chili powder, mild curry powder, garam masala, ground coriander, turmeric, 4 tablespoons of rapeseed oil, and salt to taste. Quantities of those, I don't know, about a teaspoon each. I'm using chicken thighs because they have the best flavour, but you do have to skin them and debone them. If you can't bother doing that, you can use chicken breast. Easy peasy. Okay, let's chop things up. First job is to deal with the chicken, get the skin off. When you debone a chicken thigh, the little bone in there, just find it, cut through the flesh as close to it as you can. There we go, a little bit of meat on that, that's okay because I'm going to use that in stock. And the skin as well, a little bit of bone there. Okay, so then just cut that into small dice. Right, that's 510 grams of chicken. Now wash everything that's been in contact with the raw chicken before we do anything else. Now we'll slice up some veggies, so you want to top and tail your onion, cut it in half and peel it, and then use your magic knife to dice the onions quite small. And also the red and green bell peppers, capsicums. Now peel and mince the ginger and garlic. Also, I'm going to quarter these somewhat past their sell-by date tomatoes. Ginger, squish. We start by heating 4 tablespoons of rapeseed oil in a frying pan or something similar, and when it's warmed up add the chopped onion and let that cook for about 5 minutes, and it's okay if it browns a little bit. And then add the garlic and the ginger and a pinch of salt. And then add the chopped tomatoes and a squirt of tomato puree and stir those in. Let those cook for a couple of minutes and then add the bell peppers Cook for a couple more minutes, then add a teaspoon of chili powder, a half teaspoon of turmeric, a half teaspoon of coriander powder, and a half teaspoon of curry powder, and about half the fenugreek. Now we'll put the chicken in the pan and let that bubble away for 3-4 minutes. Notice we don't sort of pre-brown it or saute it. And then about a cup of water, reduce it to a simmer and just let it bubble away for about 5 minutes. Then add the rest of the fenugreek and the chopped up coriander leaves. Stir that well, give it a taste, adjust for seasoning, and then you're done. Take it off the heat, let it cool down. For the pastry, I'm going to make a basic short crust, but with lard and butter. So I've got 500 grams of plain all-purpose flour, 125 grams each of lard and unsalted butter, cut into cubes, and a teaspoon of salt. Just mix those together. And we also want just enough water to make it come together in a ball. So we'll just add the fat gradually and it'll get rubbed into a kind of coarse breadcrumb texture. If you don't have one of these beauties, then you can do it by hand with your fingertips, but be careful not to melt the fat. So there's the flour and fat mixture. There's still some quite big lumps in there, but it'll be okay. Now I'm going to add the water by hand so you can see what's going on. Basically it'll take about a cup of water to make it come together. Right, that's more or less it. I'm going to wrap that in plastic film and stick it in the fridge to rest for half an hour. Right, everything should be nice and cool now, so I'm going to assemble the pies, and my plan is to try and make 4 quite large ones in these rings. If there's any leftover stuff, I'll do some smaller ones in these rings. We'll see. Okay, so we need some flour on the worktop. I buttered the inside of these rings because they're definitely not non-stick. Right, where's my pastry? In the fridge. Okay. Let's grab a chunk. I'm going to roll out the pastry lids first. Right, now I'll just cut 4 discs, and I'll put these back in the fridge to chill. So we'll roll out some pastry that's big enough to do the bottom and sides of that. Then we lower it in and press it down all around and trim off the excess, but leave a bit of a rim. And I'll put them on this baking sheet with lined with greaseproof paper, parchment paper, and I'll stick that in the fridge for at least half an hour to rest. Now I've got plenty of pastry left over, so I'm going to try a little experiment. I'm going to curry fry the pastry. So I've never done this before, but I'm just thinking maybe if we had mildly curry flavoured pastry and some yellow turmeric colouring, that'd be quite interesting. We'll find out, won't we? Obviously this would have been better if I'd thought of it before finishing the pastry, but anyway, come back in a bit. Here we go, vaguely yellow, probably curry flavoured pastry. Now time to assemble the pies, and in honour of Pie Day I've got me pie stamp. This is a thing that I designed about 10 years ago, before I had a 3D printer. And but I had a friend in Finland who volunteered to print it. It took 11 hours on the machine that he used. Anyway, and I can't find it. Thought I'll print another one, and it took an hour and a half. But yeah, and it's orange. Woo! Whack a pie on each lid. So I'll just put the lid on this one. I've got a bowl of water. I'll just moisten the inside of the rim. The lid. Press it in. Now you want to get your oven preheated to 180 Celsius for a fan oven, convection oven. That's 200 for a regular one, and that is gas 5. And now we're going to glaze the pies, so get yourself an egg. And a little sploosh of milk. And whiz those together. And paint the tops of the pies all over. Finishing touch, I'm just going to sprinkle some cumin seeds on the top. I'm going to put those in the oven for 35 minutes and turn them around halfway through. The time is up. They look alright. Some of them have leaked. Could be a problem. I'll just let those cool down on there for about 5 minutes and then I'll start messing about with them. Oh yeah. And now. No, later. No, now. It's taste test time with Mrs. KeefCooks. Yay!
Hello. Oh, you're right, darling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pac-Man pie.
Oh yeah. Chicken Balti. Yes, 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 yes. Have I just ruined your picture?
No.
Okay.
A bit.
Okay, lovely soft light pastry. Can't get it on my fork, but never mind.
Okay. Now I have to try this bit.
Why?
Different.
Is it different? Oh, this is lovely. So, okay, so this is curried pie.
Well, you can't really tell, but
No, don't tell me.
just try the pastry.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's yellow. You put turmeric in it. Can't really tell.
Yeah.
No.
And curry powder as well.
I only know
But
that.
yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it's nice. Oh yeah.
Well, I'm sure it's not less palaver to make than doing rice, but very nice to have those in the fridge. Microwave for lunch. Oh, look at the pretty little bits of seeds on the top.
Yeah.
Long day, we've got to sit down before we fall down.
So yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Happy Pie Day the other day.
Oh yeah?
And thanks for watching, and see you next time. Gastronauts.
Yes.
Team you lot, we're not that.
Team you lot.
Team Gastronaut. There will be a t-shirt.